Good morning, sir. So let's start our session that is on array and we have the functions in PHP. So what is an array over here? An array which stores the multiple values in a single variable. That's why we require, because we have a number of values we have to store, and instead of storing it into a one variable, we require something which can store multiple values. So that's why we need something like data structure for this. So that's why we are going to use array for this, right? So an array, we can say that it is assigned to a single variable, but it can hold dozen of individual pieces of information, and each bit of information or row, we can say over that the information we are having in the array is called as array element, right? So the elements you are going to store in the array, they are called array elements. And within every elements, there are two parts. There is one is the key and another is the value. If you are familiar with the Python, they are also having the dictionary, and dictionary is in the form of the key and the value. So it's better to store the data in the key value pair if we store the information in the form of the key value pair. So in the same case, in the PHP, they are using the dictionary, that is in the form of the array, in which they are storing the data in the form of the key and the value. So the value actually contains the actually information which you want to store, and the key should be unique, because from the key we can identify the value. So if you are saying that okay, it is the key, then the value should be there for this one, right? So hence we are having the key value relationship over here. So we'll see what I'm going to say, that what is the key, what is the value. So we'll see in just a moment, don't worry about it. But we have to see that it's play an important role in the process of accessing and manipulating array elements. So everything we have to do, because we need to store the data in huge amount, so we need either array, and for calling it we require functions. So that's why these are the important topics, so we have to go according to this. And over here, the key and the values which I am talking about, the key should be the non-negative integers or string. So either key can be the strings or the non-negative integer for this. And array are with the integer as the key are the most common type which we are using, and we are calling them the scalar array. If array we are having with the integer as a key, so they are an associative array. And those with the key are strings, because I told you keys can be of two types, either you have an integer or either you have an string. So if you're having an array with the integer as the key, then they are called the scalar array or numeric array. And if you are having the key as a string, then it become associative array. So how we can say what is actually the example of the associative array and the numeric or scalar array, we'll just see in a bit. So there are three types of arrays in the PHP which we are going to cover. So the first is the indexed array, second is the associative array, and the third is the multi-dimensional array. So first we have to see this one, that is the indexed array. So in the indexed array, what we have, in the index array, I told you that should be in the key and the value pair. If the key of the index array is the integer, and if that key is starting from the zero value, then we can say that it is indexed array. And the integer value, whether it is starting from zero, we are going to use this to identify the things, because we have to find their position also. Because why we are providing the indexing to the array, because we have to, if we have to find a particular element in the array, then how we are supposed to find that particular element. So by the example, if I want to find you also, any of the participants, I don't know anyone, then how can I find out? I can find out by, if I know your address also, if I know your phone number also. So by these things I can find you out, right? So hence in the array we also require some field which we can use to find out the individual elements which are present in the array. So that's why we are using this index, and you can say that the key value also. So if the key of the indexed array is starting from the 0, that is in a numeric form, 0, 1, 2 and so on, and on the basis of that we can identify their position also, so that are called indexed array. And the associative array, if we are using key, if we are using string as a key, So how instead of 0, 1, 2, I can just use Shruti, I can just use Sonal, I can just use Anu. So anything string which I can use as a key or for indexing, and in that part, that type of array is called an associative array, and it behaves like more like two column table, because you will see key and the value over there. So the first column you are having over here is the key, and the second column is to access the value. So that's how associative array will work. So that's the indexed array and the associative array. I told you there are three types of array which we are going to cover in this in the PHP. The numeric array, second is the associative array, and the third is the multi-dimensional array. So there are three kinds of array in this which we have to cover. I told you the numeric array, if the index is the numeric, then it is numeric array. So if you want to create a numeric array, you have to create only the elements, and the id will be automatically assigned to it, because by default it is starting from the 0. So that's why id will be automatically assigned to the elements. So for the PHP, for the first, what you have to do, you have to start writing the tag like this, because if you're doing the PHP, that you have to tell your interpreter that you are performing PHP execution. So for doing that, if you want to start the working of the PHP, just write this less than bracket and this question mark and just write PHP over here, right? So you can write this one, and in between of this you can write your code which you want to execute. And after this, when you are sure that there is no more content which you want to write or which you want to execute, then what you can do, then just you can use the print or echo statement. I'll tell you the difference between this print r statement and the echo statement. Just for the time being, remember this thing, that it is used for printing or displaying the output, right? So if we want to display the output, we are going to use this print r function over here. And so first of all, how you can declare the PHP, just you have to use this PHP tag less than question mark PHP. So if you write this any code which you want to execute, you can just write in between them, and you have to close this question tag of the PHP. So how can you close the PHP tag? Just by question mark and this greater than bracket, and in between this will you write your code, right? So this is the basic difference. And we are going to use this dollar variable, dollar symbol over here with the variable a. So dollar over here is the variable. So if you want to declare any variable in the PHP, you can do with the help of the dollar sign. So just remember, if you are putting a dollar sign in front of any variable, that means it's a variable, right? So for declaring it a variable, we can just use a dollar sign. So dollar a, and because we have to declare that we are going to implement a numeric array. So for this, just write equal to array, that is the keyword which you have to use, and in the parentheses you have to give the list. So in the elements which you are going to store, you have to provide that. So the first element is train, and the second is the car, and the third is the bus. So when we have declared an array, by default indexing is done and they have started from the 0. So at the 0 index train is there, at the 1 index car is there, and at the 2 index bus is there, right? So when we execute it and we can see the output, at the 0 index you can see train, 1 index you can see car, and the 2 index you can see bus. Now you will say how we can say this at the 0, 1, 2. It's in the form. We didn't store it. This is the format which is done by the printer statement. So you have to remember how we are going to use it. This is just important that you have to use this printer statement if you want a structure like this, that 0 to train, 1 to car, and 2 to bus, right? So we'll see the next type of array. So the next type of array we are having is the associative array. So I told you in associative array, instead of this, we are going to use as a string. The key should be the string. So we have created element with the ID over here. So see this, we have created $A, that is A is the variable for the array, and we have started creating the array. And now you can see this 6 is in double quotes, right? So 6 over here, which I am providing the key. Earlier I just write the elements in the array, but in the associative array you have to provide the key also in the form of the string. So anything which is in the double quotes, that become a string. So it can be numeric string also, or it can be string, the character also. So 6 is now become a string, it's not longer any integer over here. So we are assigning key as 6 and value as a train, then again key as 7 and value as a car, then 8 as a key and bus as the value, right? So now we have array which are storing the key 6, 7, 8 and the value train, car and bus. So when we are going to print this array, so you can see the output over here. 6 is train, 7 is car and 8 is the bus. So this is the associative array. So I hope you got the difference between the associative array and the numeric array as we have discussed. In the numeric array, it will start from the 0 and you don't need to give the key over here. And in associative array, the key should be the string over here, right? And you need to provide it. So that's the difference in the numeric array and the associative array. And again, I told you there is one multi-dimensional array also. Multi-dimensional means that we have to create array within the array. So this is called multi-dimensional array. So let's take one example of this, of multi-dimensional array, in which what you have to do. So see over here, and this I have declared one variable a with the dollar sign again, because this is a variable which is equal to the array, and in this I have taken a. So in this a I didn't provide any index, but into the b what I did, I assigned another array to it. As you can see over here, b is having another array. At the location of b there would be another array, and they are storing the value train, car, right? Train and car, and b is storing over here is the bus, as you can see over here. So this is the multi-dimensional array, and when we execute it you can get the output. At the 0 index we are having this a, right? And a of b, as you can see over here, a over here, and at the b, so this is the key over here. So this is the value which you are going to store, and when you are using this function, so we can say that now this become your key, and in this key you are having the array, and in this array you are having two elements, 0 and the 1, that is your train and the car. So in the array at 0 you are having this train, and at 1 you are having the car, right? And at the outside, this is the outside array, and at 1 they are having the value bus over here. So this is bus is from the outside array, that would come in the b, but b contains another array, so that contains the value of the train and the car, right? So this is the example of the multi-dimensional array. So we have covered uh, both all of the examples, that how there are three kinds of array I told you in the PHP. So the first what you have to do, first is the numeric array, this we have covered, and second is the associative array, this we have covered, and the third is the multi-dimensional array, right? So how we can use this array, and we have to see there are many inbuilt functions of the array which are much make our life easier, make our code very easier. So how we can use that, and how the working of this code of we can see how the working of the array within the functions we can use that. So there are many functions, as you can see over here, array combine, array count values, array different. So there are many inbuilt array functions we have. So we'll see one by one what is the output of this and how we can use this one. So for this, let's go to the another side, another slide. Yes, so this one. Yes. So we have started with the array. I told you that's associative array and the indexed array, and any element of an associative array can be accessed by a keyword. And in associative array, it's like a dictionary or a map. With, if you are familiar with the Python dictionary, and array element can be of the type of any type, and array can be of heterogeneous. Otherwise, we say the homogeneous, but it can be heterogeneous with its elements only and its type and structure. I'll give you the example of that also. And there are many functions from which we can manipulate an array also. So we'll see what is the value which we are getting for it. So the first we have seen the indexed array. As you can see over here, the animals is a variable which I have taken for the array, and I am storing the value dog, cat and the fish. That is the string inside it, and you have to close it with the semicolon because you have to terminate it. And see, instead of print r, I am using the echo statement over here. Again, echo, it is used for displaying the output. It is used for display your screen, the output, or display the message which you want to, right? So the echo in this, because animal, this is my array, and in this I want to access the element which is having at the 0 index. So the element which is having at the 0 index is the dog, so the dog will get printed. And at third, we are having animals, so I want to get access it, having the animal at the 2 index, so 0 1 2. So at the 2 index we are having the fish, so the fish get printed. And if I write echo animals, because it's an array, so it will print just an array, because you didn't provide the index, so it will not get the index, so it will just print an array, because animal is an array over here, right? So if I want to update and the add elements in the same program, so for example, if I want to replace the cat with the tiger, right? I don't want in the array the cat should be there. So for example, in your college also, and in your company also, there are many employees which can leave, and others can come on the in place of theirs. So what I'll do, all the entries in my database, I'll just replace it. I'll just overwrite, instead of them at the same position, I'll just write the another name. So the same case we are doing in this example. So we have an array with the name of animals which are containing the elements dog, cat and the fish. So what we are going to do, first we are checking that at the first index which is the element which is stored. So at the first index it is having the cat, so that's why cat is get printed. But now I want to replace cat with the tiger. So what I can just do, just at the variable, at the array variable, at the index, at the position, I'll just assign the value, and this will just overwrite the value in it. So tiger is overwrite instead of cat. Now there is no longer cat is present in the array. Now the tiger has replaced the cat, right? So when you printed it at the position 1, you will get the output tiger over here. So if I want to increase the size of the array also, if I want to add another elements also, so we have updated it, but now I want to add the another elements also. So how we can add the another elements? So in this, just write the array, that is the animals, and the element which you want to add. So for example, if I want to add the element beaver, and I want to add it, I have added the element beaver over here, and when I have printed that in the array at the third position which is there, so its output is the beaver. So as you can see over here, we have updated and we have added the elements over here. As this blue screen will show you the code, and this other screen which you are having on the which you can see is showing you the output. So from this you can see this is your code and this is your output, and how we can update and add elements in the array, right? So let's move to the another example for the associative array. So for the associative array, we have taken the example of the associative array for the 5 6. For the we make that string in a 5 6 we have made in a string, but now instead of using 5 and 6, we are using a string like dog, cat and the fish. So again, animal is my array, and the keys which I am using over here as the index, right? Because index is your key, and you are using them as a dog, cat and the fish. and the value inside the dog key you are having 15, cat key is 8, and the fish key is 2. So you, this is the example of the associative array, and the same way which you were accessing it with by the help of the index. So you can just try with the help of the key that animal is the array and the key over here is the cat. As you can see over here, the cat is the key, and when you print it you will get the output 8. And if you have the bat, so see this, the bat, we are assigning this key and the value pair in the this array over here. We are going to update it also. We are going to update the array with the key as the bat and the value as the 100. Now we are printing it that you have to print in the array animal. You have to, the key is the bat, so tell me what is the value. So it will print the output 100. So if I earlier print that before updating my array, so it will give me the error, or it will tell me that there is nothing with the key as the bat. But now we are having the element because we have updated it, right? So for this, we can say that we have already seen that this the we have the 8 and the 100, it's how much taking that, right? So here we can use this array element for the 4. So everyone is familiar with the 4 over here. Okay, so this one, ma'am, you are asking. Okay, there is one question. Okay, so how much memory associative array takes? Okay, so for you that there would be a key and the value pair. So the data which is stored in the key and the value pair, we are making as a separate file because we have to store key and the value pair. So we are going to use the reference over here. So the individual array that can be loaded or saved from the database, we are going to use the key to refer to them. So we'll store in a one, that is the key value. So the key, you have to store it in your database as a one individual file, and you have to give to the refer to that to another file which is having the value, right? So instead, because see, you can see over here you have a one file of this individual, this key, and the one file of this in your relational database as the value over here. So they are going to use it, and because they have used the parallelization concept also, standardization concepts also, so there is nothing like that they are getting much space. But if you can see that we require a different field for the key, different file for the key, and the different file for the value. So that's like that it will require some more memory because we are storing the two file instead of the one file. So it will take more than the indexed array because for the key value, otherwise it is a fast because we are providing the as we can say that standardization and everything we are providing over here. So that there is no to worry about that. If you are going to use associative array, the it will take the more memory and it will take a more time. So it will take more time and memory, but we can improve the performance in workflow. There are many ways from which we can improve the workflow, because if you want to store your data in the key value, so we have a system in which we can store and retrieve these associative array in a native fashion also. So we can improve the performance if we want to say, but otherwise it will take some more memory and the performance would be decreased if we use this associative array, right? Fine, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So let's come to the another part. So for this, we are listing the array elements over here. So you can see we are using the for loop. So I am trying that you can cover at least the basics of for loop and the while loop and this array function. So that's why we have taken the examples of for loop, while loop in the array, so that these how can you use these basics of for and if else in the array in the PHP, so you can have the example over that. So again, in the element in the array, we are having the same array, that is the animal, and we are providing with the dog, cat, and the fish. So these are my elements of the array. And in this, I have started with the, because I have to go to each and every element and I have to traverse it and I want to print it, right? So for we are going to use the for loop, and for accessing the each element, because the index is starting from the 0, so let's start the variable. We have taken the variable I and the value is assigned to be 0, so it will go to the length, right? So the count function over here is, if we use the count function, that is of the array element, so it will total to be 3, right? So count will work as the length of the array, so the count and the length is same. So the total count of number of elements in the array is 3. So the loop should go from 0, 1, 2. So that's why it is less than 3 over here. And we are printing it 0. Zeroth animal is at the animal 0 place पर कौन सा पड़ा है, dog, and 1th place पर cat and the 2th place पर fish. That's how you can use the listing the array elements using the for, right? So we'll see the another one, and now we can use the for each also in array. In PHP there is also a for each, which simplify the working of the for loop. So instead of writing where you have to start, where you have to stop, and at every time you have to increment this much, so for each loop we are going to use over here. And in this you can see that in the array we are having the dog, cat, and the fish, again the same. So animals I have over this, you can see over here we have taken that you have to access it as animal. So we are taking it in the array of this, in the array of animals, as a dog, cat, and fish you have to access it. And as animal you can write I, j, any variable which you want, so they will access it one by one, जैसे आपकी for loop कर रही थी. And its the functionality is the same as the for loop, but instead of, there is just slightly difference in the syntax, but the working is same. So it will access each element one by one. That is the working of the for loop, and you can see in the output also dog, cat, and the fish, right? So again, now we are using same with the while and the each function. So if you don't want to use for or for each, then you can use the while and the each function over here. So as you can see the same example, now this is our associative array, and in this associative array element is the dog, and then is the cat, and then is the fish. These are my keys, and the element are stored is 15, 8, and the 2. So while in this we are checking if the item is equal to each element. So in this we are going to check, we have to check what is the each element, each from the array we have to take the each element, just like dog and the cat and the fish, we have to get it. While it will condition if they are, what they are doing, they are assigning it to the item, right? Each element, first dog is assigned, then cat is assigned, then fish is assigned, right? So the key is assigned to the item variable. And you can see over here print weight of item key. So the keys over here we are having is the dog, and dog is, as we can say, is item value. So the weight of the dog is 15, so the value over here is 15, and the key and the value is the term, is the keyword which they can use for printing the key and the value. So in this array we are having the key is the dog, cat, and fish, and the value is 15, 8, and 2. That's why they are printing it in the item, and we are running the while loop for each of the element. We are assigning it to the item also, and when the array get the all the elements of the array are done, then we can come out of the loop. That's why we are printing like weight of a dog is 15, weight of a cat is 8, and weight of a fish is 2. So this is how we can done. Even we can done with the help of the list also. So in the same array we are having dog, cat and fish with the elements 15, 8 and 2. So we are using this while function again with the list. Now we are providing the key and the value. So we are separating the value over here, the key and the value from the animal, from the animals array, and we are providing the each element, that is each element first the key will be assigned and the value will be assigned to the key variable over here. So you can see we are assigning the key variable and the value variable also over here. So in the key variable you are having the dog, and in the value variable you are having this is as value is the 15, 8 and 2. So that's how even if you have to perform with the list also, even you have to perform with the while also, so you can done with that, right? So let's move to the, which I told you at the starting also, that it's a multi-dimensional heterogeneous array. So how we can say that it's a multi-dimensional heterogeneous array? As you can see here, books is my array, and in this what I'm going to do, starting an array, and in this we are having a two arrays. So multi-dimensional array we are taking it, and the first the key is title and another key is author, and you can see over here A is this key, author, key, right? And there is another array in it, title, author and price are the keys. So that's why we are saying that it's a heterogeneous array, because the element they are storing in it, it's the value also, it's the integer value also instead of the string. So when you print it, so you can get it at the 0 element you are having the array, and in this you are having the key pair and the value pair. So the key is title and author, and their values are A and the X, and the 1th index they are having the another array, and these are the keys title, author and price, and these are the value B, Y and 25. So that I also explained this multidimensional heterogeneous array over here. So let's talk about the nested loop also, how we can work on this nested loop, and then we'll say string as an array. So for the nested loop, in loop inside loop, now we can see over here books is in the previous slide we have taken a books, that is a multi-dimensional array. Now we are going to print it, instead of this whole book we are going to print it some of its value. So if I want to print some of its value, I have to access it the whole array. So for accessing it the whole array, we have to use the nested loop over here, because we are using multi-dimensional array. So in this, for the first, I started from the index 0 and till where, because the count, so the total number is the 2 over here, so the 0 and the 1 it will run. So print 0th and the 1th, it will run for the only the 2 times, for the 0th and the 1, and while. So for inside we are having the while loop, and in this we are just printing, we are just assigning from each from our array books, we are assigning each value, we are key and the value pair, right, to the key and the value pair in form of the list. So when we are printing the key and the value, so you can see over here in the first we are having it as the A and the X, and another then we are having it for the, this is for the 0, and for the 1 we are having B, and we are having price as the 25. So that's how they are printing it with the help of the nested loop. So this is the nested loop which we have covered also. So now we'll see here this string as an array. If you are storing it a string, for example my cas is a string and I have to store it into a variable, and string is also stored as an array because its index value is starting from the 1. So 0 is stored at m, 1 is stored at y, and then 2 is the space, 3 is c, and so on. So if I want to print the string, then I'll just write the variable. You can see the print is, the string is printed on the screen, but if you see, if you give the index value, then you can get a specific character. So if you want a specific character in the string, you can get the index value over here. So let's come to this part. So there are many array functions. So now we have started with the functions also. There are many inbuilt. We have a two types of function. We have a user defined function. We have an inbuilt function. So let's start first with the functions, that is an inbuilt function. So at the first we are going to start with the array function, and these are the functions which is more important. And we have a MySQL functions also, array functions also, everything. We have the reserved functions, inbuilt functions, which are very good if you want to use it in your website, and they have a different motive over there. So according to your input, you at least know this, that what function is get used for, so that anytime if you want to use according to the requirement of your website, you can use it, right? So for this, you can see over here we are having this array functions. So in this we are having the count function, we are having size of function, in array, array slice, array pad, array reverse, and the list. And there are some sorting functions also, sort, r sort, a sort, ar sort, k sort, kr sort. So there are many functions over here. So let's dig into this functions and we'll see what actually these functions are going to do. So the count function, I told you, it will return the total number of elements which you are having. And the size of function is also will return the size of the array, that is the total number of the elements. So they are working both the same. So you can see over here we are having the same array with the elements dog, cat, and fish, and with the name of the animal. So if I use the count function, and in the parameter, because it's a function, inbuilt functions, you have to pass the parameter. So in this we are passing the parameter as you can see over here, the animals, that is the array. So if I pass the array, so it will count the total number of elements, it's 3. And size of it, return the size of array, that is again the total number of elements, it again return 3. So for counting, either you can use count or size of, right? So the another function is the array pad. In this, the syntax is first you have to pass the array as the first parameter, and second you have to tell the length, and the third you have to tell the value. So we are going to pad array to the length, which I have told them that you have to go with this, and with the value कौन सी value तक डालनी है आपको, that we are going to tell. So see this example, we are having these scores as an array in which only 1 and 2 elements are stored as the value. So 1 is stored at the 0 index and the 2 is stored at the 1th index, right? So we are going to take, we have taken another variable padded, and in this we are going to use the function array pad. And in this we are providing the 3 parameters which I told you. First parameter is the array name. So the my array name over here is the scores. So I have used over here scores. And the second is the length. So now the length of my array is 2. So at total number of total length, how much you require? So I said 5. So there would be total 4 elements. So total 5 elements would be there in my array, including the above elements which they are having. So you have to you don't need to create the another 5 elements. It means that total should be the 5, right? So the total should be the 5 elements should be there, and the values which you are having for the other elements which are not created yet, they are fine, but the elements which we are going to create, so you have to provide everyone value to it the 10, right? So you can see the output. So the 0, at the 0 index we are having the 1, and at the 1 index we are having the value 2. And I told him that I want the total 5, so the 2, 3, 4. So these 3 more keys and the value pair are generated. So 4 at the 2, the value is the 10, 3 at the value is the 10, and the 4, the value is the 10. So that's how you are getting, you can use this array pad function, because if you want to store and user is not providing you the data, so you can use this function over there, right? So we have seen the array pad function. There is also inbuilt array reverse function. So if you want to print the array in the reverse order, just use the function array underscore reverse, and in that you can just provide the name of the array. So name of the array is animals, and the reverse is, so it will start from the last of the array, that is the fish, cat and the dog. So you can see over here. We can done this with the help of the for loop. We can start the for loop from the last, but when the function is available, then why to write a big code for this? Because these functions are very much helpful to reduce your code and to ease your work. So instead of writing the whole code and do the optimization later, so first of all you can just remember these functions which we have, and you can use these functions over here. So that's how array reverse is we are going to use. So the another is the array slice. So the syntax of array slice is, the first you have to call the parameter array, and after that you have to tell the offset, and after that you have to tell the length, right? So in this, what we are going to do, we are going to extract a slice of the length from the array 1, and we are starting at the offset. So what exactly I mean, you can see over here, we are having an array with the name of array 1, and in this what we are going to do, we are having many numbers stored in it, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Now I want a sub part of it. So when you want a sub part of your array, you can use this function slice function. So the function is array slice. So I told them that first, which is the array, the name of the array is the array 1, and so offset. So where I told them that where you have to start. Offset is the index from where he has to start. So 0, 1, 2. So the offset, so you should start at the fourth element, right? So fourth element. So here they are creating a new array. So new sub array is creating, and the value for with that stored from the third index. So the third index element is stored is 4. So and total length, you how much length you want is the 2, that is there should be total 2 elements in it, then 4, after that 5. So now we got the 2 elements. So the new array, when you printed this new array, you can see at the 0th index you are having the element 4, and at the 1th index you are having element 5. So that's how you can get the sub array also. This is called the slicing of the array, right? Again, we have a boolean in array function also. In this, check if the value exists in the array 1 or not. So if you want to check that whether there is any value, for example, because these examples we are taking in a short form, but when you are working on a website, you are having a blog website. So if you want to check whether you are having a certain blog on the certain topic, right? So if you want to check, you can just use this function in array. You can just write this query, and from this function you can just check, because if the person is searching over there, that it's there. If the value is true, then you can display the output. If the value is false, then show the message there is nothing like the match title on this blog. So any message which you want to. So that's how these functions are very important. So if I want to check whether the value is exist in the array, so you can see over here we are using in array function. Again, there are two parameters which you have to pass. First is the value which you want to see, and the second is the name of the array. So if I want to see whether there is any cat value over in the animal array, so it's there, so we'll print the true. And if you see the another example, then it's the monkey. If there is a monkey value stored, no, there is no one with the name monkey value stored in the animal array, so the value is false over here. So you can get this from here, how we can use this in array function also. Now there is another function, there is another list, that the elements of an array, if you want to copy it into the list, and they will be assigned as the variable. So list is what you are going to do, you are copying the elements of the array and you are assigning to the individual elements of the list. So we are having the array dog, cat and fish, and these array, you can the name of the array, this assigned to the list which are having the elements $A, $B, $C. So the dog is assigned to A, cat is assigned to B, and fish is assigned to C. So this is only possible with the help of the list. So these are very good examples of functions which they are having. Now come to the sorting part also, because we have to sort over here also. Now see, in this we are going to sort the elements in the increasing and the decreasing order. So for this array, you are having the same array dog, cat, and fish. Now, if you apply just the sort function on this array, that is the animal array. Now we can see over here the it is doing the sorting according to the value, because it is not doing according to the index number. Now the index number is also changed, because you are printing the value and it is done according. It has changed the index number also. Earlier cat is having the index 1, now the cat is having index 2, because cat C, then D, then F. So it is going to the 0, 1 and the 2. So this is the output of the sort function, that you can sort the value of it. How you can sort the value for this? You can sort it with the just the value. It will in the increasing order, C, D and F according to that, and 0, 1, 2, the new index would be assigned for it. But what happen if I don't want to assign the new index? I just want to see the sorting list and at the which index they were having. Not like it will show to me that at the 0, that the new index it will show. I don't want that. So if you are with me and if you the same, you don't want that, then if you want to maintain your index association, then what you have to do, you have to use this a sort function. Instead of using this sort function, either you can use the a sort or ar sort, both. Ar is for the reverse one, and that is for the decreasing one. And as you have seen, this sort and the r sort is for the reverse of this, right, for the decreasing order. So this you can see over here, we can use the a sort function if we want to maintain the index association, because at the one array cat is there, 0th position dog is there, and at the 2th position the fish is there, right? So next is the k sort and the kr sort. So here k means the keys. So you have to sort not on the basis of the values, but you have to sort on the basis of the keys. So you are having the dog, cat and the fish as the keys, and their values are 15, 8 and 2. So first is the cat, then the dog, then the fish. So it will sort the values by keys only. So as you can see in the output also, right? So any doubt till here, so that we can move to the next slide of ours. Yes, any doubts still here? Okay. Okay, that's great. So I hope everyone can understand and there is no doubt till here. So we'll continue. So we have seen this the PHP array functions, and we'll explore the more of the PHP array functions. So first of all, we just see the few examples how we can create array in this PHP. So there are different ways of creating array. So one is to use an array function, where you have to specify element as the key value pair, and another one is that you can use this square bracket over here. So there are two important points that you should remember when you are creating the associate array with the key value pair. So the first, I told you already, the key always has to be unique, right? So if you try to use the same key multiple times in an array, the PHP will ignore all other key value pair except the last one. So it will store the last one and it will print you the last one. Second point is that if a key is created as a float, boolean and a valid string representation of integer, then ultimately it will be cast into the integers over there. So see over here in the screen, there are few examples of creating an array. So the first one we have already seen it. So in this value we can take the negative value also. So this is the index array which we have already covered. And the second one, you can see over here, we are having this with the square bracket. You don't need to write the array function over here. Right. And in the third, as you can see over here, so this is a mix of, because I have not assigned the key to the 10, so it will take as a 0. And to the apple I have assigned the key 5, and to the 20 I have assigned the key to the 2. Now minus 18 and the monkey I have not assigned the key, so it will take from the 5, not from the 2, right? So it will have taken, that is from the 6 and from the 7. So it will take the maximum of the value that you have reached till 5. In between you can write, but it will start from the larger value, so that's why they have started from 5. So for the minus 18 they have taken the key as a 6, and for the monkey they have taken as the 7, right? So now we have seen this. You have either used this array function or the square bracket, and both are equivalent when you are creating the array, right? And they have started this from the version 5.4. So you know, also don't need to specify a key for every array value. So when we left out, PHP set the key to one or the more the largest specified integer key, right, which I told you, and all automatically assigned key will be greater than or equal to 0. So now we can work with the keys and the values, and there is another function which we are going to use is the array combine, right? So array combine, what is do, it creates an array using one array for the key and another array for its value. So we are having two variables, key and the values, and we are using array combine. So in the keys we are using as the key, and for the from the value variables we are going to use as the value variable over here. So we are just combining it, and when we are just combining it, you can see over here the output. The green one is the output, as you can see over here. Sky is the key and the blue is the value, and grass is the key, green is the value, orange is the key, and the orange is the value, right? So if you want to know the array value function, whether it returns an indexed array of value, what should be the array of keys, so individually if you want to search and if you want to print, then we have these functions also as the array values, array keys in the array, because we are having the array, and in the array we are having key value pair, this one sky, this is my array. So if I just want to print the keys, then you can just use the function array underscore keys. So the answer is sky, grass, orange. And if you just want to print the value, not the whole array, you can get the values also with the blue, green, orange. And there is one more function, that is a array flip. Now what does this function array flip? So if you don't want that your keys which you have declared should be your keys, it should be the value, and the value pair which you are having, it should be your key pair. So you want to exchange that. So if you want to exchange key with the value, you can done it with the help of this array flip. So when we have applied on, now you can see that see this one and see this one. So blue is the key. Now blue is the key. Blue was over here the value, but blue is the key over here. So you can see we have exchanges the key value pair also, right? So even if you want to check the array contain a specific value, right? So I told you there you can check a specific value and you can get it first corresponding key using the array search function is there, and you can also use array in underscore array function, which we have already discussed in array function. If I just want to know whether an array contain a specific element, right? So they can tell whether it consists or not in array function. So there is another function, that is the array key exist function. So if you want to check array, if the array uses a given key, this is for basically for checking whether you have the given key or not. So here we are using these functions. So the first you can see over here, values is our array, and we are having the array of elements apple, bananas, mangoes, 100 and 200. So in array, if we are checking 100 and in the array, so yes, if it is there, if the value is true, it will print echo, it will print 100 is one of the value. So this is the output. And if again the same one not equal to false, that is it's a true, again it will print 200 because 200 is there. Now the array search, it will search the value over here, so it will search and it will give you the starting value at the index 1, so the 0 1 2 3. So so array search is providing you the index value of the first element. So for example, if I'm having a new array and in this we are having a 200, so at the third position and the fifth position. So the last one will, if we'll use this value true, if we pass this function with the parameter true over here, so what it'll do, it will check the last one also. First one we can check with the simple array search, but if we want to check whether at the last also other element also there would be any elements with the having a value of 100 there present or not, so it will give me the last index from where till where it is present. So that's why it is giving me the 5 value. And array key exists, so if there is an apple which exists, because now if you want to see only for the key, then we are having the function array key exist over here. So this is the function which we have covered. So if you want to make your code shorter, there we have a list function, so which is, it will not say it's really a function, but it's a language construction. It is really designed to assign variables in a short way. So for example, you can see the list example over here. We are defining the array ABC, and without list, when you're having, you have to assign at the 0 1 2, right, at the ABC. Now see the code, this code much has become shorter. The array you are assigning into the list which is containing the element ABC. So that's how you can write a good code in which you can just writing the short in a short way. Now your values get also get shorter with this, right? So now let's come to the extract function. So there we are having the extract function in which you can just export an associative array to the variables, right? How we'll do this, I'll just explain you within a minute. So you are just going to export an associative array to variables, and for every element of an array, a variable will be created with the name of a key and a value as the value of element. Now see this one, we are having the array, right? We are having the array, and in this we are having the key as the clothes, size and the color, and we are having the t-shirt medium blue. So these are my value. So if I want to extract, I told you extract function, you can export associative array. From this you can import it into the variables. So now when we use extract function, so your key becomes now your variable, and in every key there would be and every variable there is a value stored in it according to the value, but now they are not become the array, they have now become the variables. So that is the function of the extract. And in clothes variable we are having the t-shirt, and in size variable we are having medium, and in the color we are having the blue, right? So the opposite of the previous function which we have, the extract function, is the compact function, which makes an associative array from the variables. So if you are having the variables, that is clothes, size and the color, these are the variables, and the values are t-shirt, medium and blue. And if you want to change it into the array, just use compact function, array, the name of the function, the name of the array, and just pass the value of the variables. So you can convert it into this, and when you print it, you can get the value, you can get the array as the key value pair. So we have seen compact function, we have seen extract function over here, right? So let's see more of its filtering function over here. So there is a great function for array filtering also, and it is called this array filter. So we can just pass these array as the first parameter and an anonymous function, as you can see over here, as the second parameter, and it returns true in a callback function. So if you want to leave this element in the array, otherwise false if you don't, right? So see this, we are having the number array, and I have passed the array name, that is the number, and the next is the number. So it will in this function I have given the definition that it will return if the number is greater than 0. So 20 is greater than 0, and minus 3 is not greater than 0, 50 is greater than 0, and minus 99 is not greater than 0, 55 it is. So it will return the true. So callback function, if you call it true, it will give you the element in the array. So at the 0 index, when you are printing it, you are having the 20, at the 2 index 50, at the 4 index is 55, and this have done according to the function. So this is done when you apply the filtering function. So see in this, in the array you are having the multiple elements which are repeated, but I want the unique element should be displayed instead of the repeating one, and it will show you the unique one, right? As you can see over here, you can get only the unique values from the array using this array unique function. And here you can notice that the function will preserve the keys of the first unique element, not the second and third. It will preserve the keys of the first unique element, right? So let's move to the another function, that is the array column. So you can get a list of column values from a multi-dimensional array also, like you are doing for an answer from your SQL database, or you have to import from a CSV file. Just pass an array over here, and you can get the column value. So see over here, you are having the in array you are having id 1 2 3, you are having title, tree, sun, and the cloud, right? So if I want to see what is the values in the column id, so just I will give the array and the column name. So we can see what is are the values inside it. It's the 1 2 3. So that is the work of the array column over here. So there are many functions which we have already discussed also, right? So there is size of this also we have discussed, that size of function, and we have the count function, that it will count the total number of variables, total number of elements having, right? So this we have already covered. Is array we have done in right, but is array, if you want whether the provided data is in the form of array, so whether it's array or not, then we have this boolean function is array. It will return true if the variable is the array, and it will return false otherwise. So you can see over here we are using this ternary operator. Echo is array, we are applying it over here on the array. If it is true, if this is an array, it will return array. Otherwise, if false, array. Again with the URIS we have, this is a variable, so this is not an array, so it will print not an array, as you can see in the output also. In array we have discussed this one. When we are used to an array, we have to check a certain value is present in the array. So this we have already. So yes, print our function. So I told you, although this is not a function, but we want to explain it, as we are using this function to print the array in the most descriptive way. So this function prints the complete representation, that along with the keys and the value. But if you do not printer, if you just use a print, it will not put in the key and the value function. So if representation of the array along with all the keys and the values, then you can use this printer function. That's why we are using this printer function over here, right? As you can see this in the output also. So another, we have the array merge. So we have seen if we are having the two arrays, as you can see over here, we are having the hatchback array and we are having the friends array. So we merge these two, then, and even you can merge the two different types of array also. So the first you are seeing that it's an indexed array, it's an associative array, and the second one is an indexed array, right? So if you want to merge this indexed array with an associative array, so you can combine them with the single array also. So This is the program, and when you merge it, see, this is the function array merge, and you are printing it. See, the first is the key and the value from the array 1, and from the array 2, because that was a numeric 0 1 2 3. So that's it. We have seen it over here. So the next is the array value. If you want to, if your data is stored in the form of the key value pair, where key can be the numeric or uh, any strings, right? In the case of indexed array, it can be numeric, and in case of associative array, it can be strings. So if you want to take all the values, you can use this function array value over here. Oh, sorry. Yes, you can use this just array value over here in the previous as we are doing it. Yes. Right. So we have seen many function. We have seen array keys also if you want to use. There are some other function also, pop function, push function, that is we can get the meaning from the stack itself. Push means to insert and pop means to remove. So if you want to remove the last element of the array, you can use the function array and pop. And if you want to insert the element, a new element at the end of the array, so you can use this array push function, right? So for this, if you want the element to remove from the first element out of the array, the first pop you were doing it at the last, but if you want the first element, then you can just use array shift function over there, right? And we have seen the sort functions also. We have seen every functions. Now PHP functions, as I told you, there are some block of statements which they are generally perform at specific tasks, and they can be used to perform in a program. So these are the block of the statements which we are using it, are having and if we are having the task which can be repeatedly performed, this block of statement is also given a name. So when we want to use it in our program, we can just call. So we are having the array definition, we are having the array calling, and the declaration. So declaration is not the which you have to do, just we have to focus on the calling part and the for the definition parts. So there are thousands of built-in functions, and we have covered a very less function. Not very less, but we have covered from array. We have covered almost every function. But from another perspective, there are many functions which are left out. So I'll give you the link. You can just go through with that. That there are present many functions over there. So you can just directly use into your script. And if defined function where you can define your own function. So how you can do that? So this is the basic syntax. So let's understand this one. First is the PHP, and for creating a user defined function, you have to use the keyword function over here. So we are using the keyword function, and the function name is the name of the function, and this is the definition, so you can write your code itself over here. So the few rules which you have to provide the naming function if you're going to name. So the first is that the name only contain alphabet, numbers, and the underscore. So no other special character is required. And the name should start with either alphabet or underscore. So it should not be start with the number, as we are having the same rules in another language also. And these are not case sensitive, right? So the function names over here, this is are not case sensitive, and the opening curly braces after the function name marks at the start of the function code, and the closing curly brace marks the end of the function code, right? So let's take a simple example in which we are displaying a simple message, Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. So this script very helpful if you want to send festive emails to your every friend of yours, and you have same messages in all of them, right? So see, this is the function definition. I have created one function with the name grid, and in this we are just printing the value, that a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. So this is just the function, and it will not go directly to the function definition until we call it. So the main is starting from the echo line. From this line we are going to start. It will print. Yes. So it will print Hey Martha, that is the echo. So it will print Hey Martha, and then it's the call of the function. Then it will go to the greetings function, and Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. Then it come to the break line, echo break, then break would printed, the space, the next line it will come, then echo hey John, and again they are calling the function, then they will call Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. So the message would be, hey Martha, Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. Hey John, Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. So these are the advantages of the user defined function. So as we have already seen how we have understood how these can save our time for the larger program. So we can reuse our code also, as it is clear from the above example that we can write a function once and we can use it for 1,000 times in your program. And there is a less code repetition, as we have just seen that there is a one line of code in the function. But if we want to reduce the code, so rather than repeating all these lines code over and over again, we can just create a function for them and simply call the function. And these are very easy to understand and make our code more readable and easy also. So the same case you can go with the arguments also. So see, in the same program we are passing the argument as the variable as the festival over here. So because J is passing another, because I want to wish the J Diwali and John to New Year only. So that's why we can use it as a variable also, and we can pass the value. So here we have passed the value as the function argument. Now you can see the output also over here. And if I forgot to give the output, I forgot to pass the parameters, in that moment we can just apply the default, that if there are no such argument, then you can define the default argument. So I have assigned the variable equal to live. So if you are passing it, it will overwrite it, but if you are not passing the argument, it will take as a default argument, that would be the live. So this is the output. Hey Jay, wish you happy Diwali, and John has not passed any argument, that's why I wish you a very happy life. That's it, right? And yes, PHP function in this the same, you can return the values also, return statements, you can use it over here. So we are adding this two number and we are just returning the sum of these two number to the add function. So when we are returning it, you can print the output, and 15 would be the output for it. And that's it.